So to summarize and sum up from a practical point of view, I think that we are probably left with the national legal regimes governing the effects of judgments on the substance. But this poses some practical challenges. Both Swedish and Italian procedural law contain very sophisticated doctrines of res judicata. In fact, I think the Swedish doctrine of res judicata is one of the most elaborated and written on concepts, not only of procedural law, but of law in general in Sweden. And I think, hearing from my Italian colleagues, that something similar is the case in Italy. So how do you explain to a Swedish judge what the Italian res judicata effects of the Italian judgments are going to be? So if we take our case that I mentioned, if one of the Italian cases reaches judgment first, then we have to know the effects in Sweden. And unfortunately, you could very well reach the conclusion that this is not clear, not even from an Italian law point of view, or you could reach the conclusion that it is clear, but the opposing party will do what it can to confuse this. And the likely outcome then is that both parties will obtain legal opinions from Italian respected academics, and who will unfortunately sell their conclusions to the parties. And as an outsider to the Italian legal system, and due to the language barrier, if nothing else, what is the Swedish judge then going to do faced with this material that he or she has before him? In some legal systems, you could have a way out by the court asking an academic institution about this. But that poses its own problems and might not give the best answer to a complicated question. For our part, we think that the best way to solve this problem would be if there was a way for Swedish courts to ask the Italian courts directly what is meant by the judgment. I think that this would not only provide the best answer to the question, but it would also open up for direct communication between the courts, probably the best way to overcome barriers, and would build mutual trust, which is a precondition for a smooth operation of the Brussels regime. So to come back to what I said initially, I think that while you cannot force trust by legislation, you could encourage trust and an ever closer union by providing the legal tools for cooperation directly between courts. Thank you.